Good morning, friends. Thanks for being here this morning. This is Journey Home Meditation, and this is our morning sit. It's a very chilly morning here in Southern Oregon. We've got snow on the ground and rain coming down from the skies, and I'm just happy to be here. There's something about a good chill that can move through us, and depending on our disposition and our the shape of our body, I know that mine is oftentimes really affected by the weather. But depending on how we are feeling in that moment, that chill can be quite invigorating. And yeah, it's interesting that that we can be so affected so differently by the exact same thing, depending upon sort of where we are in that moment. It's like you, pardon me, you kind of decide, usually subconsciously, and it usually doesn't feel like it's very empowered or with much agency, that we get to decide how we accommodate our world. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about. I guess I consider that a lot with social media and the way we are sort of training ourselves to be reactive and to react to one another, as opposed, I guess, or in contrast to our ability to come to the table with security. And it seems that more and more we are being bombarded with these things that take us off of our center, take us off of that place of security. And our imagination is running amok. And when it feels threatened, then that imagination is sort of participating in enlarging all of the possible monsters. Yeah. And this, of course, goes without saying that there are things that are harmful in this world. And I don't think that my body knows the difference when I'm learning about harmful ideas or picturing future harms caused by the logical outcomes of my fears, or that and the difference between actual danger. And I think that a lot of us are being challenged with those two sort of adversaries of being, right? And when I say that they're adversaries, it's not that they're necessarily enemies, but they provide us with a challenge or a contrast to what we would like to see in the world. And I guess it's not really a fully formed thought this morning. I don't have any fully formed thoughts, but I do know that I am remiss in pausing with you this morning. So maybe that's where I can find my center. So just 3 full in present breaths. Yeah. Yeah. That tends to help. I guess just thinking this morning as I got into my vehicle to drive in, I will often either come in the morning in silence, or I'll have some sort of gentle music guiding me in. But this morning, my car was already set to the local radio station, KXCJ, that plays Democracy Now! And I somewhat absentmindedly just got in the car and um, just backed out and allowed it to play. And I recognized that even a program that is speaking the things that I tend to find informative, and I tend to agree with a lot of the perspectives being shared by guests on the show. Um, Even so, it was a nonstop assault upon the senses of, this is who to hate, this is who to despise, this is who to blame, this is who to other, this is who to ostracize. And it, without my consent necessarily, I guess I had my consent because I did not turn it off. I could have turned it off, but allowing it to sort of invade that space so early in the morning set me into this place of feeling a bit protective and a bit on edge. And I could recognize it pretty easily, and I eventually did turn it off. But there was a challenge inside of me. Well, this is information, and information is important, and it's good to be up to date on what's happening in your country. But then the other side of myself was saying, there's snow on the side of the road, and there's probably things to tend to when you arrive this morning at Journey Home. And in this moment right now, you're tensing your lower back, and all of these small parts that were saying, hey, none of that you're hearing is here in your body until you invite it. And there was some truth to that. There's truth on all sides of this. But I guess it sort of set my mind into this split. I want to say personality, a split between personalities. Personalities, I guess, being the ways that I express my personhood. And there's two very different things happening inside of me pretty much all the time. Um, there's the part of me that is well trained in resistance, and then there's the part of me that is learning acceptance. And both of them are informing one another, but sometimes they seem to be at odds. And I don't know how to move forward some days with the climate in which we're living and the social happenings around it, and the shifts, and mostly just the intense feelings of defensiveness and anxiety and separation that I sense all around me, from the people in my family to the people in my community, the people in my workplaces. Uh, it seems there's a lot of resistance. And I don't know if it's the type of resistance that's actually helpful. And I want it to be. I want it to be helpful. And I want to both exist in that space of security and curiosity. And I want to exist in that space of protectiveness. I want to protect that which is in danger. I want to protect the things that could be harmed. I want to provide shelter for someone in need. I want to utilize the tools that I have to construct a safety net of sorts. And we can do both, but not if we are taken by fear. Not if we are taken by fear. And likewise, not if we are stuck in the dream world of perfection. We can't be there either. So part of what's helping to inform those thoughts is I read a poem this morning by Mary Oliver, and it sort of challenges the poet, but also just each of us with this notion of how do I respond to this? So I would like to share that poem now. It's from Mary Oliver's book, House of Light. And the poem is called The Swan. I'll show the book as I tend to do. If you're watching on Facebook, I want you to be aware that this is the last couple of weeks for this program or myself to have presence there. Check us out at Substack. Substack.com/@journeyhome or journeyhomemeditation.substack.com, or just find us there. You'll find us. You can also watch us on YouTube for now. But if you're listening to this audio, know that we do have a live video broadcast of this morning sit each morning. This is The Swan by Mary Oliver. Across the wide waters, something comes floating. A slim and delicate ship filled with white flowers, and it moves on its miraculous muscles as though time didn't exist. As though bringing such gifts to the dry shore was a happiness almost beyond bearing. And now it turns its dark eyes and rearranges the clouds of its wings. It trails an elaborate webbed foot the color of charcoal. Soon it will be here. Oh, what shall I do when the poppy-colored beak rests in my hand? Said Mrs. Blake of the poet, I miss my husband's company. He is so often in paradise. Of course, the path to heaven doesn't lie down in flat miles. It's in the imagination with which you perceive this world and the gestures with which you honor it. Oh, what will I do? What will I say when those white wings touch the shore? In the poem, the poet mentions Mrs. Blake. And when she said Mrs. Blake of the poet, I miss my husband's company. He is so often in paradise. And that's a reference to Catherine Blake, whose husband was William Blake, the English poet and I guess he was a printmaker, a poet, and sort of a psychonaut. He explored the psychological and psychic boundaries between God and himself, and utilizing a lot of substances. And so I'm when I read that, I know that there's a part of my knowledge that says that William Blake was often given to flights of being in that sort of ether, that dream world, that imagination place, and that's fueled by alcohol or absinthe or narcotics, but also by his desire to understand and sort of capture that existence, that ethereal existence that we all can participate in with or without substances. Meditation is a great path forward for a lot of people to find that sort of psychedelic space. because there is an existence there. There is an ability to exist there in some ways, and we can get stuck there. And as I hear the poet talking about this thing of beauty, this imaginative, beautiful, sort of almost mythical creature that's coming towards her, she doesn't know where to take this. Do I stay in this imagination? Do I come back into the material world? How do I bridge this gap that might be there for some people? I want to bring this to others. And I think that's what got me thinking about this sort of dichotomous way of thinking, this right or wrong, this us and them. By reading that poem and being in this space of profound beauty, and then turning on my car and hearing this profound ugliness. And here I am sitting in between. It's like the devil and the angel on my shoulders. And they're both kind of pulling. They want the attention. They want my attention, and because attention is the beginning of devotion. That's a Mary Oliver quote. And they both want my devotion. And so there I am, and I'm trying to find the middle path. But I'm recognizing that maybe the middle path is a winding path, and that middle path winds to this thing, and then to this thing, and back and up and down. When the poet Mary Oliver, when she says, of course, the path to heaven doesn't lie down in flat miles. I mean, that's where what she's saying is that we are in a place where we are moving from this to that, up and down, in and out of all of these crevices and valleys and hills. And I just want to be reminded that we don't have to stay in any of those places. In fact, we can't. We have to keep vacillating. The vacillating is the breathing, right? The ebbing and the flowing, this vacillation, this opening and this closing. But I feel like so many of us are feeling stuck sometimes in the despair, stuck in the anger, stuck in the othering. And I don't know that we're going to be effective in finding love if we are stuck. We have to go through it and come back to it and come in and out of it to engage with it, to be present with it as it is. And it's hard to be with something as it is when you are feeling attacked by it or bombarded by it. When you are standing at the shore and the tsunami wave is coming towards you, it's hard to see the peaceful ocean behind it. So, a prayer this morning that may we all vacillate, ebb and flow, and move through these things knowing that even right now it is already shifting. Whatever it is, even right now, this is going away. The things that I cherish and love, the things that I fear and despise, even right now, it is going away. I'm going to have a moment with a sip of tea. Thanks for being here this morning. Let's take a few minutes together, just a couple moments, even straightening our spine really helps to open up our breath pathways. If you have the ability to sit upright, this is quite helpful. Placing your feet either flat to the floor or resting gently without putting pressure on the knees or the hips. A small cushion under your bum can really help with that. Letting your arms relax, your shoulders calm down, bringing your shoulder blades together slightly in the back. Relaxing the top of the head, the eyebrows, the eyes, the cheeks, the ears, the back of the head, the jaw, letting the tongue relax and breathing in through the nose. And release. Breathing into the bottom of the belly and releasing fully. Breathe in. And let the sound of the bell just bring you to your breath. And your mind starts to wander in thought. Your body starts to wander in sensation. Just come back to the breath with the sound of the bell. Thanks, everyone, for being here this morning. I hope that you can find relief for your suffering, your anxiety, if you have any today. And I hope you can find outlets for your joy and your love that you are carrying. I know that we are all of these things, each of us. Even the one who is causing so much harm in any moment is also in need of love and has love to give. We just need to create the spaces in the world in a way that encourages presence, kindness, compassion. And that means that those of us who want those things have to make that stand compassionately, kindly, courageously. We have to make the stand, whether it's in an interpersonal conversation or at a local food bank or gathering. We show up and we arrive to be present and to hold that compassionate space, even as difficult as it may feel. And that tends to be a belief. So challenge your beliefs. And the best challenge for a belief is being with what is. Oftentimes, a belief will not allow us to see things as they are. So try to put away your belief and see the world as it truly is in any moment. Thanks for being here. Happy St. Patrick's Day. um, happy Irish Heritage Day. And today is my birthday. So I hope you have a happy day on my birthday as well. It's available for you. Okay. Hariom.